Okay, good evening and welcome to the first Highland Paranormal Videocast, podcast, whatever you want to call it. I am joined tonight by the Celtic Queens of Paranormal, Eileen and Nichola. Evening,
Hello.
ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you both? How are you both doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good, good. So, for those of you familiar with Facebook, I'm quite sure
Doing
you're
grand,
already.
thank you very much.
Good, good. You probably follow their pages already, but if you don't, we'll make sure we leave links so that you can give their pages a follow.
Yeah, we have just shared it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay,
I've started to the group as well, so hopefully.
Right.
good. Yeah, we've got five folk on apparently already, so that's good.
Oh, that's nice.
So guys, Eileen, start with you. Tell us a bit about how you got into the paranormal.
Oh, well, a long time ago, many moons ago, in a galaxy far away, shall we say. I've always had an interest in the paranormal, Liam, ever since I was a little girl, really. I was always a strange child that used to crawl out of bed and go down and watch all the scary films and things. And I had a real interest in ghosts. I used to buy ghost books and, things like that as soon as I could read, basically. And then a little later on, my granny's next door neighbour was a spirit medium in Liverpool. And I used to spend quite a lot of time down in Liverpool during school holidays and such like. And she used to fascinate me, and she used to allow me to sit in when they were doing the Ouija board sessions and the seances and don't tell your mother. So from the age of about 6 or 7, I've been kind of dabbling, as it were.
Hooked.
I
That's
had
wonderful.
my first kind of proper paranormal experience, as I know it is now to be, when I was in Liverpool. My granny lived in an old house, a really old house in Liverpool, and it was quite scary. It was one of these like big townhouses up 3 flights, and my bedroom was away in the very, very top, and you had to go up this rickety wee staircase to get up to it. And there was a rocking chair in the corner, and every single night at 7 o'clock, the rocking chair started to go. Just by itself, every single night.
And at 6-year-old, were you scared or fascinated by
No,
that?
fascinated. I wasn't scared
Fascinated.
at all. No, because
Love
my
that.
Auntie Lil next door had told me all about ghosts, and don't be frightened of them. They're just people that you loved that aren't here anymore.
That's wonderful.
Which, fair enough.
Yeah.
A grown-up tells you that when you're 6 or 7, you get on with it. So I've always had an interest, and then life goes on and you grow up and things happen, don't they? And I had domestic responsibilities. I was a carer to Tommy's dad for a number of years with Alzheimer's, so I was a bit restricted as to what I could do. But then when these responsibilities ended, we started going out and looking for paranormal groups, and then we started going out and about with lots of different groups around Scotland, and sort of rekindled the interest there. And over the last sort of 15, 20 years, it's kind of grown.
That's
to where
wonderful.
we are now.
Yeah.
I've been in and out of various groups. I reached a point where I was going to jack it in. I was getting a bit jaded, and my motivation is not money. It's never money. And I was kind of becoming quite disheartened with some of the groups that I was in. Their motivation and their direction seemed to be all about making money. And I was just getting a bit fed up of it all. And I very, very nearly just walked away until Nichola pulled me back by the hair. And that's why I started Phantom Seekers. So it's her fault.
That's brilliant. It seems like a very good point to bring Nichola in.
Yes.
And ask Nichola, how did you get started then?
It's a bit weird. I was 18, student nurse, and my friends were all going and getting their tea leaves read and their tarot cards read, and I just got fed up with it all. And I says, look, it's a load of nonsense. Give me it. I'll read your cup. And I don't know where the information came from, Liam, but I give my friends readings that the information was coming out of my mouth, and I was apologising. I said, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I told one girl to go home and check the drawer because there was no mobile phones in those days, you know. Told the girl to go home and check the third drawer and the dresser that, you know, the house she was sharing with a boyfriend, that she'd find a letter and that he was cheating on her. And all this information was coming, and then I got tortured with people to read their cups, and I still thinking, it's me like, I don't know what I'm doing here. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. So there was one particular night I was coming home from Portadown, and met my friend Tria. Well, I was supposed to meet her at the train from Cork, but I didn't bother. But when we got back to the nursing home, there was a major incident that night. I would say it was definitely, well, I'm still, at that time, I was convinced it was some type of poltergeist activity. Then part of me goes, I don't know if it was some psychokinetic energy built up by the three of us in the room, but I have never in my life seen anything so frightening. And it was like the medicine chests were rattling, you know, candles were flaring. This big heavy wooden door was already getting shook off its hinges. Petrified. I'm not going to say that I wasn't scared because I've never seen anything like it. I was petrified. I ran up to the other side of the building where my room was, took every statue, cross, holy water I could find, put my head into the bed, and all I seen was this mass. You know, it was like nearly, it started off nearly as if somebody was putting a torch, you know, under the door, you know, that means space at the bottom of the door, and this mist forming in my room. And I remember running out squealing. And while I was running out squealing, the girls that I had been with previously, they were running the other direction, coming up screaming. So we all, brave women, we're always skinny wee things in those days, you know. So the three of us jumped into one single bed in this room. And the way it was, there was a bed, there was a bookshelf ran across the, you know, the whole top of the bed. Well, I'm really brave. I went, I'm against the wall, because if anything happens, I have to get used to first, you know. And I will never, to the day I die, and the story never changes. I remember waking up in the early hours of the morning, and this book, this file block, hovering above my head and whacking me full force, and that was it. Went back to my own room, didn't sleep for about 2 or 3 weeks. went to confession, went everywhere, you know, as you do. And I swore off everything paranormal after that. And I never was interested again until so about 13, 14 years ago. I was driving over the Forth Road Bridge about 7:20 in the morning. I was coming back from the airport. And again, I seen this mass, you know, coming from the side of the road, and it wasn't midges and it wasn't anything like that. It was that much that I actually swerved the car to avoid it, to nearly cause an accident, and there was nothing there, so it just disappeared. So I keep waiting for it to come up on my Facebook memories, because it came back and I said, oh my God, I think I've just seen a ghost, you know. And then I went and did the research, and I didn't know really the areas at the time, and it was just round about Inverkeithing, and there was a lot of battles and stuff there. So I started going, oh, I wonder, have I seen something connected, or was it somebody connected to somebody that maybe had lost their life in the building of the bridges, you know. And then that was it. Started picking up, going out with different groups and stuff, do a lot on my own as well. Had a few issues with teams and stuff, so I'd never join another team again. I do like going out on my own, and that's the beauty of Phantom Seekers Paranormal, because you don't know who the team is from one night to the next, you know. if you go on an event, you know, if you're, you know, you could be with 4 or 5 different teams. If Eileen's hosting the event, she's hosting the event, you know. But so the team's quite fluid like that, and that's what I enjoy. So I still do my own thing quietly in the background. I don't post that much what I do, because 99% of the time there's nothing, and I should actually should start posting. Look, I've been here. Here's the history of the place. This is what I've done. This is how I tried to investigate it, and I've got nothing. You know, so
I think a lot of what we do, Nichola, you've got to be in the moment to experience it, you know.
Eileen,
we don't have events per se. We go out on investigations, and I'm very keen to include lots of different people from different teams. And we don't do this, we do and you watch business. It's just everybody together.
Your team.
We're
Yeah.
all investigating together, and
Mhm.
we get some really good results because everybody brings something different to the table, different experiences and different methods, different things they like to do. And we learn things, and hopefully other people learn things. And we've met some really, really lovely people, you know, along the way. But as Nichola said, it's very fluid. We don't know exactly what's going to happen until the people turn up. And very often these are people that we haven't met before.
Yeah. No, I think that's a brilliant way to do it. I mean, I
Yeah.
always say we're always learning and we can learn off each other,
always.
definitely. And yeah, I've got no time for any of the kind of snobbery, that I'm better than you nonsense. Because you know, as I said,
And
even
there is
within
a lot of that.
oh yes, there is. But even within our own group, I always say to guys, everybody brings something different to the table.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
and everybody's is important, and as well, you know, getting out with other folk. I mean, we're really hoping to this year at some point we're going to get out with you guys somewhere.
Oh yes.
You know, that would be really, really good. And I would just sort of
Now
say,
that will be an event because we'll have the Irish accent, the Scottish accent, and the French accent to deal with.
aye, we will do, yeah, yeah. And a few more besides, probably.
And a few more.
And a few more besides. I'm just going to quickly go through the comments because there's quite a few people just saying hello and stuff like that. So, yes. I'll just quickly go through and say hello to everybody who's joined this evening. Thanks for joining.
Hello, Debs. Audrey.
And Kerry.
There you are.
Yeah. So Kerry is another Irish lass. Kerry runs Spellbound Caithness. So she's way up north.
Oh, Kerry, hello. Well done.
She's way up north. So yeah.
Up in the land of Glasgow.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. She's just saying that we were out on Monday night. I don't know if you ever met Stefan.
Yes, I know Stefan.
Yeah,
so Stefan's over here. So Stefan was over here on holiday, so he basically said, "Oh, we need to catch up." So we went out to Clavacairns on Monday, and a few of his friends from Germany have come over as well to do investigating. So I didn't actually realise we were going to be doing an investigation as such, but I had the kit in the car, thankfully. So we had an interesting night, but busy place.
Stefan's a very, very interesting man.
Yes, he is indeed. I love talking to him. He's got a lot of really interesting kind of theories and approaches to things. So it was really, really good to catch up with him. And he's determined to come on and do a chat with me as well. So we'll definitely be getting Stefan on at some point.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. But I was going to say, Nichola.
He can be quite dark.
Yeah. He takes both very, but I think you've got to look at everything, haven't you? I mean, I know I, for one, don't do the D word. It's just just from my point of view, it's a beliefs thing. And that's all it goes down to. I still believe you get good and bad spirit.
Yes, of course.
But
by definition, if good exists, bad must be, but must exist.
But
I respect people.
What interests me is people that say they don't believe in demons have absolutely no problem saying that they believe in angels. A lot of them. I've been secretly, honestly, asking people, like off the record, blah, blah, blah. I'm never going to say who it was, whatever, quite respected people, do you actually believe in demons? And it's, but they don't say that in their groups and stuff, but they actually do. But I mean, I'm very much along your lines too. Where there's good, there's bad.
I think that there must exist, but not to the extent as is bandied about.
But I mean, that's the same as ghosts. I mean, every building you go into, is haunted. And you just sort of go. So you can say that about. I mean, I've never seen so many programs, and you could walk down the road, come into an abandoned shed down there, and say, "I'm in a haunted shed." So even a lot of what, as you said there, the way the demon word's bandied about is ridiculous. But it's the same way too. You can turn around and say, well, with respect, the way the haunted word is through about in paranormal shows is absolutely ridiculous as well, you know.
Very true. You guys touched the point as well. We go to locations and get nothing.
Oh yes.
We get absolutely nothing. And obviously we're going to locations where there's been reports normally of something happening before. So yeah, you can go to one location one time and get nothing. The next time you can go there and there's something there. You know, it can be a completely mixed. It can be a completely mixed bag. I get what you're saying about the demons thing as well. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's controlling the media. The media, that's what they're focusing on. Recently, Jason Hawes from Ghost Hunters, he started doing YouTube videos because they've actually walked away from the Discovery Channel because the Discovery Channel wanted them to do the D word. He wanted them to focus on, and they said, "Look," he said, "I don't believe in them. I'm not going to do them." He says, "We've always done the show on our approach and our beliefs. If you're asking us not to do that, we're not going to do it."
Fair play to him.
Yeah. But I mean, I was going to go back to what you were saying, Nichola. I mean, when you started, you had that, you know, experience in the Fourth Bridge, and you thought, right, I'm going to start digging in it. Was there any apprehension because of what you'd had before?
Yes, and that still remains with me, Liam. There's times, I mean, the most profound, the most recent one is I have to be careful how far. I mean, I do not claim to be sensitive. I say I'm as sensitive as a brick, you know, like that. But there's times if I'm sitting chilled, and I mean, I like to sit in total silence. And you can't get that when you're actually out actively investigating. But my ideal investigation is just to sit totally silent and watch and record, you know. But I do have to be careful because sometimes when I'm sitting in that total silence, I can feel myself sort of slipping, you know, and it's nearly as if you're allowing things in, and I don't want to go down those lines, you know. So sometimes I will go, no, I have to go out of here, you know, and I go out and sort of reground myself, shut everything off, and come back in. I like to go watch and listen. I don't want to be feeling that stuff, you know. Not when it's not for everybody. You know, my pet, Eileen will tell you, my pet hate on an investigation is when somebody goes, touch me, touch one of us, you know, and I always go, no, not me. You have no permission to touch me.
I did that very early on. It must be within the first couple of years of investigating. We were doing a basement in Inverness. And I did a calling out session, and I says, "Can you touch one of us?" And the biggest guy in the room basically got pushed against the wall and collapsed to the ground. After that, I have never once said, "Can you touch one of us?" I have a case, "Can you touch me?" But I've never actually, because I actually got a fright. I did get a fright. So I totally get where you're coming from, and especially with the experience that you had previously. Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, there's times I've been touched and stuff, and I've just said, "Do you mind removing your spirit from me? I don't like that. You don't have my permission, you know." But I like to try to feel in control of what you're actually experiencing, you know.
Oh, you like to come in and touch me. My lovely husband from another age comes forward.
That's right.
Quite regularly.
Yes. I forgot about him.
Oh, he's horrible. We think
he's getting his marching orders soon.
Well, we picked up a name, didn't we, at Jembra?
Well, there was sort of two sort of came in. I don't know whether it's Chris or John. I'm virgin on the John side of things at the minute, so I am. But he's ready. Hi, Lee. He's ready to get his marching orders from me because he dominates so much of my audio, and I'm going, we're not here to talk to him, so we actually do have to arrange.
He comes everywhere, Nichola. He's been coming for years, everywhere I go. I still don't know who he is or what I'm supposed to have murdered his sons.
Okay.
No, but we got that clearly on audio in Jebber.
Yeah. So you kind of probably I was going to say to you, Eileen, have you had any experiences? But obviously, you've got your gentleman,
Oh yes.
your spiritual husband.
Very
Anything
much so.
else?
It's quite funny because usually the first sign of this particular entity being around me is I start to feel sick. And as soon as I say I feel sick, Nichola starts recording.
That's what friends are for.
And everybody's going, get out, go away. And she's going, no, stay.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a horrible experience recently. I'll not go into it tonight, but I had a horrible experience where I had to actually leave a room recently, which for me is pretty rare. So I get where you're coming from.
I've only had to leave once. That was at Bannockburn House.
Mm-hmm.
And Nichola took me out. Remember that night?
I took her out. Thank God I'd left the recorder going. So I record everything, you know. From the minute I walk into a building, my recorder's on. So it is.
Yeah, but you've got some amazing audio, Nichola. I mean, you put a lot up on your page and whatnot, and you've got ears like I don't know, super. That's definitely your superhero strength because the audio you're picking up on, some of it's absolutely brilliant. And on such a regular basis, it's pretty awesome.
It was like Christopher Huff said the day on your page, Eileen, that it's a lot of it. I find too, especially if you're using a spirit box or anything like that, audio pareidolia has a big play there. It definitely does, and I have fallen into it myself too. Going, say if it was name, was that Mary? You said, and then you spend the rest of your time on the investigation call, and whoever you think is basically the wrong name. So I've learned, through time, well, no, you go home, you record, you put it up, and you actually go through your audio. And when you've it really amplified, you'd be amazed then what you get. And I just think it's a different frequency. I think mediums and our psychics, they can communicate on a frequency that we can't hear. And I need the audio, the amplified audio to hear it.
Yeah.
But Nichola has got one of the very, very best EVP ears. She's up. Nichola is way up there. She gets all humble and shy now, but Nichola really is up there with the best of the best with audio. She really is, and we're so lucky to have Nichola around.
You just go. You go with your gut feeling. If somebody I always say, if somebody turns around and says, "I feel this, I think that," and I usually mark them, on the audio and go back, because if you're with, if I was with Eileen and Eileen goes, God, I think somebody just touched me, or was that and the other, and she's going, did you touch me, or whatever, and just because we don't hear it, that's where I would then earmark in to go, was there something there? Because it's not like Eileen just saying that, or, so when you know the people you're working with, then it makes your audio a lot easier. So it does. You just know. I always just go, and then when you're listening, when you put an audio up in a clip, you can feel it. You might be able to hear that the first 10 times. It's weird. I've seen me listen to the same audio clip, and I know the first time I heard something, and then when I try to go back and find it, it's disappeared. And I'll sit with that one audio clip. I've seen me sitting with weeks going, I know that's there, and then you will find it. You just don't give up, So, but I mean, that's just what I enjoy doing. Enjoy the audio.
Yeah, I love your posts. I mean, I really do. I mean, I think Eileen's nailed it on the head there. You are one of the best, and I mean that. I mean, there's a lot of audio that people put up. There's a lot of audio you see on TV, and you're going, "Sorry, I'm not hearing that."
And again, you see, you people out there, the other side of the screen, you only see a tiny little bit of what Nichola picks up. I'm very fortunate that I'm privy to a lot of stuff that is not considered viable enough to present. It's viable enough for our purposes, but Nichola doesn't like to present anything that's open to question, or what I mean. So there's a lot of information that doesn't get there.
If I can't say 100% that wasn't any of us, I'll not do it. And I mean, there's been some really good captures that I know 100%, but I can't prove it, or I can't, or just, I can hear stuff. I mean, I have some captures I can hear, and I go, there's no point in me even posting that because people are going to think I'm away in the head because they're not going to be able to hear what I'm hearing here because I don't have the know-how to separate voices and stuff like that, and I'm not going to start to pay for fancy audio equipment. Everything I use is free online. I use Audacity, I use Twisted Wave online if it's just a basic amplify and slow something down. And Ocean Audio is a really, really good free audio editor as well. And the less editing you do, it's like a picture, the more pure it is. So
Yeah,
I think one of the best we ever got was at Hales Castle, the one that I posted just a few weeks ago for Liam.
The Kiss Him at the Gate.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That was wow.
That was a good one. The good thing about that too is because that could probably be defined as a direct voice as well, because that was heard. That was heard in real time. We just couldn't make out exactly what it was. And it was heard that much to the point where the gentleman actually left to go and see because they were convinced there was somebody just literally around the corner from us, but there wasn't.
Nobody there.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, I've noticed with audio, when you start to, try and amplify it, and a lot of the times you actually distort it and you actually lose what was there to start off with. And
but Liam, I don't know, I'm probably teaching everybody to suck eggs here, but the good thing is if you're using Audacity, is if there's a noise, amplify that, then do your noise reduction, get the sound profile of that, and then rip it through, and then but as you said, sometimes you can go too far and distort the actual recording.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to the spirit box as well. Often on the night you hear something, as you said, but when you actually go back and listen to audio, it sounds completely different. And it is very easy on the night to then go down the route of what you hear on the night, as well. But I mean,
you can definitely be led down avenues that are dead ends.
Yeah,
but even with the spirit box too, it's a lot of the times you don't actually even hear what is coming through until you go back on the audio itself. Sometimes in that hissing, in that hissing sound, once you rip that out, you could be amazed with what you're left. With you could have asked a question that can be the actual answer there staring in the face, but you just didn't hear it, on the night.
And that was quite amazing. We had the conversation, didn't we, in Jedburgh? Mickey had his thing on and you had yours on, and they were speaking to each other.
Well, the two shortwave radios, it was actually really good for Mickey because Mickey had it's just a wee hack radio, but we run it in shortwave all the time, and it's just to try to rip out some of the radio bleeding. But Mickey had his, and he had never. He says, "Nichola, I got this. It just doesn't work. It's just not working. I'm getting nothing through it." And I stuck mine on, and I says, "Put it up here." And straight away, it was. You were actually going, is that two people maybe on a CB radio or something, And it was only when it was only when Mickey put his on and it was going through, and it was his one is scanning now. And that to me is what sold me. Whoever this is seeing what we're doing, So, and Mickey now too. So he says since it started working for him, he's getting amazing results through it now too. But it's like everything, it takes a while at tuning your ear and getting used to it.
Yeah,
that was quite spooky though, wasn't it? Like the conversation going on.
I find that quite interesting. I mean, but I love the spirit box, the shortwave radio, and you usually hear me tell them that's what I usually lose the rag. So do shush. So, but
yeah, it's REM pods for me. REM pods never work for me. REM pod once, and I had my back to it, and I actually turned around to everyone and says, "What was that?" That's the only time a REM pod's gone off Only time they're in fact, while I was away, the guys were doing a private case, and I've got the REM pod went off. My REM pod they had, and it went off.
Just went off just to
yeah, just
there you go. Do work, Liam.
Yeah. So, where's your favourite place? Have you got a favourite place that you like to investigate, or?
I don't think so. I don't think we have. Not particularly a favourite place.
It's a difficult question because I always struggle to answer this question because I think different places give you different things.
Different places present different things, don't they?
Yeah.
For investigations that I've been to in the past, Chillingham Castle's way up there for me, because of what I've experienced personally in Chillingham. Bannockburn House is always productive. I don't know, Nichola, what about you? Hales until we were stopped going.
No,
we were actually building up quite a good rapport with Spirit at Hales.
Yeah, but that's not. I wouldn't have said it was my favourite place to investigate. You know, I don't know. I I actually can't say I really have a favourite. I mean, as I said, I do like going out my own as well. And I mean, I could be sitting here at 7:00, on a Friday evening and say, right, I'm away. And Thomas will go, where in God's name are you going? And he's me, I don't know. And I'll end up somewhere. And it's not the first time I've went out and said, oh, I'm away to Weems Castle, and then end up completely the other side of Fife. I like old ruins. I do. I like old abbeys. And there's nothing. I mean, I really, truly love sitting in St. Bridget's Kirk on my own, sort of mid-evening. You've still got a bit of light and playing church music. Sitting in the old chapel, and to sit there, and actually sit and think about everybody and everything that's happened. To me, that's the way. I just love that type of stuff. So you could find me anywhere on a Friday evening, sitting in a graveyard or an abbey, playing music.
Do you get much reaction to the music?
Yeah.
Oh, at Old Pentland we have, haven't we? When we put the music on in Old Pentland Cemetery, it's been.
I do find, especially if you're going into a church, an old, an abandoned church or anything, you do need to know what denomination it was, and you need to know sort of what time frame you're sort of hoping to get, So if you're going into an old church that was pre-Reformation, it was Catholic, and it was abandoned, or the roof was ripped off during the time of the Reformation, well, there's no point in playing any hymns in English. They all should be in Latin, because that's what the service would have been done. And we got that response in Pentland as well that time, because it was, this word came up, and it was esprego or something. And I'm going, what in God's name? So I knew it was something. And I put it into Google Translate, and it was actually Latin that came back to us, So, but I do find music's a really good trigger.
Yeah, we've used it a couple of times. Sometimes nothing, but on a few occasions it's been a really good trigger.
Have you ever heard ghosty music? I'll never forget, there was at Chillingham Castle in the courtyard outside. It must have been about 1:00 in the morning. We had been on an investigation, and it was a break time, and 2 or 3 of us had gone out. And I don't know if you know Chillingham Castle. We'd gone out into like the courtyard area, and we were just standing there, just having a wee chat before we were setting off again. And we heard this noise, and it was like lots and lots of voices. Like if you're at a party and there's like a buzz of noises, and then this music, and it was like Jacobean, like magical, minuetti. Let's have a wee dance, sort of, It was
really
like that.
Okay, say it again.
Really did back in the day. But I tell you, I'll never forget that. The noise of this music. And I mean, the castle was empty. There was nobody in the castle staying. There was nobody resident at the time, because we did make a point of asking. But we clearly heard this sort of banqueting type music, and noises, like inaudible buzzing of voices, and that was good. That was good.
Yeah.
But it
That's
always
amazing.
happens when you're not recording.
Oh yes. I've been talking to a few people recently about it. I think Spirit has a rule book, and the rule book is that they're not to be captured on film or video or anything like that. Deb's just in there. She heard flute music in an old farmhouse just outside Nairn.
Sounds really interesting.
Really interesting, yeah. We had children singing in a graveyard, same graveyard twice.
Have you?
Yeah.
And could you make out what they were singing?
Not really what they were saying. It was like nursery rhymes.
Right.
It was like nursery rhymes. But nothing like what you described there. That just sounds absolutely fascinating.
Oh, it was.
You know?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've heard singing until I went back and realised it was the birds.
I've had that. Yeah, I've had the birds and think, and then go, hang on a minute, that's not.
That's well, that's an interesting name. How do you pronounce that? Majali. Mary McKinnon. On the other hand, are there places you wouldn't go back to? There's a place I wouldn't go back to, but maybe not for the reasons that you're looking for. I just found it to be over commercialised and I wasn't impressed. East Drive, I don't think I'd go back. But then other people have had very good experiences in East Drive. But I didn't.
The last time I was there the first time you went to East Drive, Eileen, and yes, it was flat, it was dead as anything. But and I was quite hyped up for that because you heard so much about it. That the last time I went back there, I had researched everything, every map I could find, everything else could find. I actually could find nothing to do with the smoke, could find nothing. But then when I went and researched, I mean, the battlefield is only a bit down the road from where the house was, but and people go, oh, well, the battlefield was maybe so many yards away. You're going, but why did people think battles were? Way back hundreds of years ago, it wasn't fought in one field. The bloodshed, everything would have spread out all over the whole entire area with the horses and cavalry and everything else. But so it was much more grounded going back this time and very sort of cynical, but with my recorder on and the highlight of, and it was brilliant. It was a good learning opportunity too as well, because we had our equipment. I was down with New Dawn Paranormal, and I had. In the wee group I was with, Midnight Paranormal were with this lovely couple, and we had been sitting down in the living room area, and it was as dead as a doornail. All the equipment was set up, and then all of a sudden we got the K2 activity. And we're going, what in God's name's going on? But it was only because the other team had went live up the stairs that it had triggered off all the K2, activity downstairs, and you're just sort of going, I wonder how many people that actually do lives realise, when they're showing up all this K2 activity and stuff, it's actually your own devices that are doing it. But sorry, I'm raffling on, but the highlight for me to go back down to East Drive was with my friend Tricia. She was with me. And she's sort of developing her sensitivity and stuff and all like that. And she's very, Tricia, she's very softly spoken. And she just turned around and she says, is that you touching my hair? And the audio of that, I sent it to her. He's now, it's pure validation for yourself, Tricia, because it was the male voice. And I know 100,000% it wasn't any of the two men that were in the room, because they were both in my eyes, I was able to see them, and it was the male voice going, I like doing that. So there's something, but there's probably something in the thing, but it is very over commercialized, and it really is. And it's not. And again, we could go down and get nothing, just as you said, Liam, and other teams could go in and get everything.
Yeah. I have heard a rumor that the neighbour likes to knock on the wall.
Yes.
I would just discount all that. I wouldn't take a knock. I would not, unless something levitated right in front
The neighbour
of
was
me,
a scary thing of
and I was able to check that there was a door. I wouldn't I wouldn't accept it, you know.
Yeah. I've spoken to a few folk that have been to East Drive, and none of them have been impressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, you're right. Probably it's just, I think, over commercialized. I think anywhere that you can't, go on and say, you come here, you will see a ghost, or there
You
will be
can't.
Yeah, you can't.
Mhm.
And yet some places are basically that's what they're saying, and that's what they're stating. So, yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting one. And to be fair, if somebody gave me the opportunity to investigate it, I would jump and go, yeah, I'm going. So, absolutely fine. Okay, where are we? Just from that French friend, but easier than that. Just
Maggie.
you can cut Maggie. Yeah. Okay.
I thought it was Magella. I thought it was a good Irish name,
The
wasn't it?
Irish name. Irish
I
name.
thought it was Magella Marie McKinnon. I thought it was a good Irish name there.
Yeah.
Maggie c'est plus facile.
I don't think there's nowhere. There's nowhere I wouldn't go back to. But there's things I certainly will never do on an investigation, you know. And one of those is the Ouija board, and people laugh at that.
Oh.
I think you have your own set of rules that you play by, and I'm not going to deviate. But you know, if Eileen wants to do the Ouija board, I just leave. Sometimes they'll maybe hang about round the corner and try to.
If I pull out a spirit board, Nichola genuflects and throws holy water and runs away.
I don't run away. I've never ran away, but I certainly don't. You don't
like to participate. I've had very, very good validation through spirit board. The best validation I've ever had, and it was with an English team, and it was in an old coaching house down in County Durham. I wasn't even on the board. I was merely observing, and the information was coming through the board for me. And these were all strangers that I'd never met before, that knew nothing about me. And information came through from my late father that only I knew. And I wasn't even on the board. So
really
that evening for me was pure validation.
Yeah. We don't do them ourselves. One of the reasons we don't do them is we've done a lot of private work where there's been psychological issues because basically they do a Ouija board when they're 16, and then every piece of bad luck they get for the rest of their life is because of that Ouija board session.
You've got to have a sensible mindset about it.
Yes. Oh yeah. So I mean, we've kind of never kind of promoted or.
But again, I think the Ouija board, spirit board, whatever you want to call it, I think again that has been a victim of overhyped media hysterics. Yeah. You know, it's merely a communication tool like anything else, basically.
I think you nailed it there.
Overhyped, you know, and it has all these connotations. But
one of the main reasons why I will not participate in it is because, to me, if you're on investigation, what you give out, or you know what you put out in the environment yourself, is sort of probably a reflection of what you're going to get back. If that makes sense to you, so there's no way I'm going to stand around a board because I don't know what intent or what's going on in another person's head that's around that table, you know. So if I'm calling out myself and I'm going, you know, is anybody there or whatever, you know, in my head I've already said, you know, spirits that are in the light, you know, we thing, you know, but I don't know what's going around or what intent is in the person that's around that table. So it may be a lack of trust. I just don't know, but it's because there's none of us can say what's going on through anybody's head at the time. And yes, I mean, as human beings, you said as people have been psychologically affected. I mean, I spent 25 years in mental health, so as a mental health nurse, by the way. So just sort of clarify that, but we all have a tendency for magical thinking. It's human nature. You know, one of the things I'm really interested in investigations now at the moment, and I'm sitting trying to write something and it's just trying to get it worded, is adrenaline, you know, and no matter how, you know, no matter how well prepared you are, you know, you'll say about the goosebumps, you'll say about, you know, your eyesight, everything, you know, all the little experiences that we put down, you know, is that paranormal? Is it not? A lot of that is just the effects of adrenaline on your body. So to me, you do need to be sit quietly. You do need to be adjusted to the dark, and you need, because we're all human. As soon as those lights go off, without you knowing it, unconsciously, your adrenaline's just kicking in, and you're going to start, yourself, you know what I'm talking about. Your eyesight sharpens, everything. So you do need to be sitting quietly, and you do need to adjust the environment, and let all those symptoms settle down, and we all have them, whether we acknowledge them or not, and then you can start your investigation, So I don't even know how I got onto that subject. That's just me wandering off now. You'll find about me.
No, that's fine. I mean, I'm really interested. I'll be really interested to read that. Once you've done it, and I mean, paranormal hangovers is something that fascinates me because it's another thing. I'm sure you guys get them as well.
Oh, very much.
And the last one, as I said, I was affected quite badly during an investigation, and I had a 2-day paranormal hangover, which is a first for me. I've never felt.
I always takes a couple of days.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing
I think
is,
also because you're concentrating that much as well, aren't you? And you're.
Yeah, I think
if you've had an experience that wasn't comfortable for you, you've had a mega rush of adrenaline going through your body, and that once that crashes, you're going to get all the symptoms, and then it's how your mindset starts to, figure them out. I mean, if you think
it didn't feel like adrenaline, it felt like the complete opposite to adrenaline.
But this is where people mix up. If you're excited and happy, that's pure adrenaline going through your body. It's how you interpret those physical symptoms that are happening. If you're upset and angry, you have that going through your body. It affects every organ, every muscle in your body, but it's how your brain interprets it. I'll talk to you sometime about that. I don't want to hog this because I could talk for hours about this.
It's fascinating. I definitely want to talk more about it because it's an area that kind of fascinates. And what was really interesting there was it was like something drained me, and once I was drained, the equipment went off. Which was quite, and I wasn't the only person who stepped into that one area and had symptoms, and we did make sure that not everybody knew what was going on. So it wasn't like people were going in and going, yeah, well, I know if I start here, something's going to happen. It was really, really, really interesting. But yeah, I mean, as we say,
Could I ask you, have you ever been afraid? Have you ever experienced sort of fear when you're investigating?
No. That was the closest since day one. Day one, when I went out the first time, I was a little bit freaked out because I'd never done it before. But after that, I've never had a problem. But it's the first time where I can honestly say I felt I wasn't in control.
Right.
Normally I can kind of get myself back on I've had experiences in the past where I've had nausea, I've had a headache come on, and normally I can control it. I'll just sit down, I'll rest. But on this occasion, when the guests are telling you need to leave the room, you've lost all the colour in you, you need to get yourself out of the room. And I walked out of the room and I was in a total daze. I was in a total daze for 5-10 minutes after it happened. So I was, as I said, I've been questioning myself because I've always been the kind of guy, I'm not spiritual, I don't need protection, I'm level-headed, and yet here I am. Here I am holding my hand up and saying, and I know that I have over the years become more spiritual and more open to spirit than I used to be. There's no question about that. And at the end of the day, when we go in and we say, use us, use our energies, well, we're asking for it. And that, again, that's, it's just really fascinating. Fascinating. At the same time, it's the first time, I would say, that I've been, questioning my approach and going, that was just a bit close. didn't like that.
I don't think I've ever felt fear during
No.
an investigation. No. Hello, Christopher.
Hi, Christopher.
Now,
Now,
Christopher,
this man is top league EVP man.
he
goes deep
puts
into
himself
audio.
down so much that Christopher Huff, go to YouTube and look at Christopher Huff's stuff. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Totally agree.
Amazing.
Yeah, we'll check that out, and maybe we can get Christopher on at some point as well.
Particularly his old airfields and things like that. They're amazing. His presentation, his video production, he's got a beautiful voice.
And he uses both mediumship and equipment as well.
He does.
And his audio is just at a different level altogether. He goes deep. I mean, I just get fascinated. I mean, you're saying about me. I mean, the level that Chris goes to is top notch. And he's one I admire when it comes to. We all have our own.
Very much. I've got great respect for Christopher. Great respect for Christopher.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, so I'll check out Christopher's work and be sure to post some.
Before he deletes that, he's got this terrible, annoying habit of putting together all these amazing videos, and he puts them on YouTube, and then he deletes it. There we are. It's all private.
Yeah,
now.
too many. Yeah, I feel that pain. I think is what you know. And I know, Nichola, you were hinting as well earlier that there's a lot of stuff you don't put on because you know that the trolls will come out. I mean, and there's some right horrible individuals.
Oh, there are.
And some of them now are I've even got YouTube channels, and all they simply do is basically go on and they tear people to pieces. They're so
great drama,
so negative. But yeah,
I can't be bothered with all that high drama, squabbling and fighting and.
I really feel.
I just make funny reels to get my point across. Sometimes I go, that's it. I just need somebody now. I've got a brilliant one in my head, but I just need somebody that can do a Tommy Shelby accent for me. I'll share the credits with them. That's how I share my pet hates for the paranormal, just a funny reel. And make somebody laugh and get my wee dig in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame. It really is. I mean, it is a shame. It's like we should be all able to get on and respect each other's beliefs and that, you know. I see stuff all the time that I'm like, well, that's not, for me, that doesn't look like it's paranormal, but I'm not going to go on and make comment and be negative and you know, and slag it off. And I mean, thankfully, again, on our page, for the majority, everybody gets on it. It's really good. Every so often somebody comes on and tries to be a bit of a smart ass, for want of a better term, but you know, they're normally pretty well pulled down by others, even before I get a chance.
And almost in the 3 years that I've been doing Phantom Seekers now, and it's an open page, so anybody, you're quite right, Christopher, it is.
100%,
anybody can come onto the page, and in all that time, I've only ever had to delete one person and block one person because he seemed to think that Phantom Seekers Paranormal was his private dating site. But we've been very lucky. We've not had any real nasties, you know, anything like that. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
No, never. Yeah, there's quite a big one here. We've lost Nichola. Last year, sometime in August, me and my daughter, she's 7 now, we're walking up Tonahura Assembly Hill. The top of the hill, she started behaving strangely. She kept saying that she could hear a baby crying. She was so upset up there. Asked me to do something about it.
And young children are very open, aren't they, and very susceptible.
Yeah.
You know?
My granddaughters are amazing.
Your grandchildren, Nichola?
They're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I do take them out. I think there was a post up, I can't remember where I seen it. And it was about taking kids out. And I would take out my 8-year-old and 11-year-old granddaughters. And that is simply to teach them. Because they were the ones, I was horrified. I was hearing them having a discussion about haunted dolls and teams on YouTube. And I'm going, how are you seeing that? And they're going behind backs and they're watching it. And I said, that's not the way it is. So I would take them to a castle, teach them the history.
Hello,
I
Mark.
teach them the history and bring out the equipment and show them how it's worked, and then teach them how to sit silently, and they are amazing.
Yeah.
So they are. No, I was
Yeah.
telling them off for watching the hyped up
Rubbish.
teams on YouTube where they're jumping and they were squealing. So I mean, I have one granddaughter that's very, very sensitive, and she blows me away. So she does.
Oh,
She blows
I
me
think
away.
what Christopher perhaps means is don't ever tell a child that they're talking rubbish, because
Yeah.
you can't see what they can see,
Oh,
or
no.
you can't hear what they can see. Here, because
Yeah.
as a child, I used to see, and again, this was preschool, and I can remember it so vividly. I used to see an old man in the family home that nobody else could see, and I often wondered about that. For a good number of years, I could see this old man, and nobody knew who this old man was. But over the years, by talking to my grandfather and my granny before they passed away, I think it was possibly my great-grandfather.
Yeah. It's interesting because from a private case point of view, I would say that when we're dealing with kids, 100% of the time we're dealing with actual what we would class as a haunting, that they are seeing spirit.
Mhm.
We can get evidence to suggest that. Whereas adults, as we touched on earlier, when we're doing a lot of the private work, it not always, but a lot of the times it's psychological, or it is psychological. Even one of the things I used to do, you can't do it now that people stream everything, was I would go into somebody's house and the first thing I'd look at was their DVD collection and things like that, to see what kind of stuff they were watching, to see what kind of, if they've got paranormal activity there, you kind of think, okay, are we dealing with anything here? But with kids, definitely it's fascinating. I firmly believe that kids now, when they see what they're seeing as their imaginary friends, aren't quite as imaginary as we adults would think. Yeah.
I know, because my mum and dad used to say, "No, don't be silly. There's nothing there," and I used to get quite frustrated. But there is. He's there. He's talking to me, and they used to sort of tell me off, and I thought, well,
my granddaughter, she's 11. She knows she can speak to me. She says she doesn't.
But you're not a normal granny.
Well, she says she doesn't like speaking about it because people think she's weird. But she knows she could come and talk to me, so I've taught her wee tricks and stuff, because she was at one stage she told me she was getting tortured. She couldn't sleep at night with people coming to her, and so I reached out to a friend of mine who helped, told me what to say to her, to help get her to control that.
See, my grandparents, they were poles apart. My grandmother down in Liverpool was all, going to spiritual church and playing Ouija board with Auntie Lil and all the rest of it. And my other granny was a good Catholic lady, and no.
Yeah, beliefs again, isn't it? It's I suppose it's what you're brought up to believe. And I was always kind of wary about children, but Nicola's approach is actually the right approach.
Oh, it's healthy. It's absolutely healthy.
It's the way to do it, because one, if they are interested in it, it's the best way to learn. Because if they're watching YouTube and TV shows, they're not going to learn in general. Though, there's a few good ones out there, but to learn it. And also the other side of it is to have somebody there that's actually is listening to them, believes them, and can help them with the spiritual aspects, which must be terrifying for a child. Yeah.
The good thing about kids is, you get the chance to explain to somebody sort of what anxiety, the sort of contagious type hysteria is like, because of, say, there's two granddaughters will come out with one's very suggestive, the other one is quite gifted, and both beautiful personalities. But as soon as the eldest granddaughter goes, "No, I don't like this. I need to step back," and I go, "Well, what's wrong?" And it was a Balmerino album. I didn't post anything on video because I didn't want to betray her wee trust like that. And she thought she'd seen somebody. So it was funny because she seen the apparition where I had previously thought I'd seen, says to me, well, this is actually a good idea now. So the two of us were sitting down looking at the trees, trying to, and I'm explaining to them what pareidolia was about.
Mhm.
Could it be this? Could it be that? We couldn't just debunk it. And then the other wee granddaughter goes, oh, I think I seen it, and I don't feel it. And she started taking on the feelings of the other granddaughter. So, and you were just sort of saying, oh, no, darling. So you're having to teach her, well, no, you're sort of bringing it back into reality for her too, and it's something that we don't pay much attention to when we're out in teams, or if you're not so much a team, but if you're out at a function, how many times does somebody says, oh, I have a headache, and then maybe 2 minutes later somebody else is going, oh, my head's sore as well. And you do see that.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we
yeah.
do pay attention, if you're doing sort of like a public investigation, you'd pay attention to that. But I just find it all fascinating. The kids, they get a history lesson, and they get playing about with equipment, but they get spent the majority of their time sitting in silence and listening to what the birds sound like, listening to the rustles of the trees. And then actually the next step now is to teach them how to bring the audio up and actually listen to the audio. So they'll be doing their own videos. I have enough to do. So
Yeah, they'll have their own YouTube channel and
at some stage they can take over Whispering Souls, because I don't have time for it to have that much going on.
Very good.
yeah, absolutely. Dave's in good chat. Thanks, Debs.
Thank you, Debs.
Yeah. What a waste of a pint of beer.
I know. That must have killed you, Christopher, to watch a pint of beer being tipped up. That must have been very painful.
Yeah.
The medication.
Yeah, I think I've talked about it before. I think certainly from a private case point of view, I wasn't prepared for the kind of psychological side of things. And you get a lot of people who will tell you their life story into the finest detail as well. But it's important because it explains a lot of what's actually can be going on. Yeah.
And same what you do with that information, because if you're going in as a team and you've got your insurance and stuff, and somebody tells you something, what do you do with that? Or how do you get help for that person if sort of is real.
We have, it's a difficult one, because we always start we are not medical experts, we're not medical people. We have suggested that on a couple of occasions that they should maybe make an appointment with a GP if we can see that there is something obvious, you going on. But it is a very, very difficult one. We've had other cases where actually psychiatrists have taken a decision and said, or their doctor, it'd be good to get a paranormal team to come into your house if you think that's going on in your house. So we get that side, but it's very, very difficult, and you've got to be so careful what you say, because we're not experts, not at all.
And at the end of the evening, you're going away and you're leaving a family in that home, so you don't want
I always
situation worse than it already be.
Exactly. I mean, I try and pride myself in the fact that I always try my best to give them some kind of peace of mind, and we would never abandon somebody if we thought there was paranormal activity going on. We've had a few cases where we've said, look, we can't find anything going on, we can explain everything. The people have got quite nasty towards us, but we said, well, it is what it is. We can't just tell you've got something when you haven't. I'm too nice at times. I've gone back to properties that I know on one visit, I'm pretty sure there's nothing there. And I'm not being arrogant when I say that. All the signs are there that this is, people have been, in some cases, other groups even have been filling this person's head full of nonsense. And that's really, really difficult. Yeah, that's really, really, really difficult to deal with. And I always try to go back, and I always try to go right. I've gone to some point where I said, right, I'm going to send a different team members in this time. get their take on it, see if they pick up anything different. And yeah, if it just comes back all the same time, the same again, you have to draw the line. And and then when they start sending you text messages at 6:15 in the morning saying that your team are talking crap, you kind of have to go, right, time to block.
Uh-huh.
I know. I need to go. That's me getting my call. There's a campfire down at the beach waiting for me.
Oh,
there is.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you, ladies.
Well, I can't believe the time has flown by, Liam.
I know. We could talk
a little chat. And can I just wish you the very best with this new enterprise, this new series of interviews that you're going to be conducting. I wish you the very best.
Thank you both.
And I will try and stay awake. As one who gets up at 3:30 in the morning, I will do my best to stay awake and watch them.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And we will definitely have you both back on.
Good.
And
hopefully we can catch up sometime in Edinburgh.
Yeah, soon we'll sort that out. So we shall let Nichola go and get to the beach.
Okay.
And we'll let Eileen get to her bed. And thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for everyone who's joined online. Good night.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.